unless we get frightened of people.
The sound half laughed, half cheered, rose among the seated boys, till he ducked his head and went on his way.
So let's hear from the little one who talked about a beast, and perhaps we can show him how silly he is.
The little ones began to gather among themselves, and one stood forth.
What's your name?
Phil.
For a little one, he was self-confident, holding out his hands, cradling the conch as Ralph did, looking around at them to collect their attention before he spoke.
Last night I had a dream, a boring dream, five things. I was outside the shelter by myself.
Shut up, you. Shut up.
Percival Wemmy's Madison was not shut up. A spring had been tapped, far beyond the reach of authority or even physical intimidation. The crying went on, breath after breath, and seemed to sustain him upright, as if he were nailed to it.
Shut up. Shut up.
All right, so Percival is the one that keeps crying. He's been crying this whole chapter. He's been crying before this chapter. He's the youngest one. But what this is showing is that some boys are just not okay. Why does Ralph keep saying shut up though? Because he's crying, and Ralph is always one. There's no beast. There's nothing out there in the dark. I mean, he's always the denier. Grass. He downed badly, but Percival and the others noticed and sniffed and laughed. Presently, they were all laughing so absurdly that the Biggins joined in. Jack was the first to make himself heard. He had not got the conch, and thus spoke against the rules, but nobody minded. Are you following along, Anthony?
What page is it on? Because I didn't have it.
And what about the beast?
Something strange was happening to Percival. He yawned and staggered so that Jack seized and shook him.
Where does the beast live?
Percival sagged in Jack's room.
1 second, I'm yawning. Alright.
Gosh, y'all, get it together.
That's a clever beast if it can hide in this island, on this island.
Jack's been everywhere.
Percival muttered something, and the assembly laughed again. Ralph leaned forward.
What does he say?
Jack listened to Percival's answer and then let go of him. Percival, released, surrounded by the comfortable presence of humans, found the long grass and went to sleep. Jack cleared his throat and reported casually.
He says the beast comes out of the sea.
The last laugh died away. Ralph turned involuntarily, a black humped figure against the window. The assembly looked at him, considered the vast stretches of water, the high sea beyond, unknown, considered the unknown indigo of infinite. My God. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. The indigo of infinite.
Yeah, sorry, I had just lost it. My phone was pulled up. Where's it at? Which page?
Page 6.
Page 6. Yes, please. Unknown indigo of infinite possibility. Heard silently the sound and whisper from the reef. Maurice spoke so loudly that they jumped.
Daddy said they haven't found all the animals in the sea yet.
Argument started again. Ralph held out the glimmering conch, and Maurice took it obediently. The meeting subsided.
I mean, when Jack said you can't be frightened because people are frightened anyway, that's alright. But when he says there's only pigs on the island, I accept he's right because he doesn't know. Not really, not certainly, I mean. My daddy says there's things, what do you call them? The men eat sweets, there are minutes of dry palms, and eat whales.
Keep going, a little bit on the top of the right side. Eat whales whole. It rolls to the top of the next column.
Oh, I didn't read in this before. I think it says life science, but we don't know. We not certainly are not.
A squid couldn't come up out the water.
Good.
In a moment, the platform was full of arguing, gesticulating shadows. To Ralph seated, this seemed to the breaking up of sanity. Fear, beast, no general agreement, the fire was all important. And when one tried to get the one thing straight, the argument sheared off. bringing up fresh, unpleasant matter. He could see a whiteness in the gloom near him, so he grabbed it from Maurice and blew as loudly as he could. The assembly was shocked into silence. Simon was close to him, laying his hands on the conch. Simon felt a peerlessness necessity to speak, but to speak in the assembly was a terrible thing to him. Maybe there is a beast.
The assembly cried out savagely, and Ralph stood up in amazement.
You, Simon? You believe in this?
I don't know, but
The storm broke.
Sit down.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Shut up.
Ralph shouted.
Hear him. He's got the conch.
What? I mean, maybe it's only us.
Nuts!
That was from Piggy, shocked out of the corn. Simon went on.
We could be sort of.
Simon became inarticulate in his effort to express mankind's essential illness. Inspiration came to him.
What's the dirtiest thing there is? As an answer, Jack dropped to the uncomprehending silence that followed the one crude expressive syllable. Release was immense. Those little ones who had climbed back onto the twister fell off again and did not mind. The hunters were screaming with delight. Simon's effort fell about him in ruins. The laughter beat him cruelly, and he shrank away defenseless to his seat. At last, the assembly was silenced again. Someone spoke out of turn.
Maybe he means it's some sort of ghost.
Ralph lifted the conch and peered into the gloom. The lightest thing was the pale beach. Surely the little ones were near. Yes, there was no doubt about it. They were huddled into a tight knot of bodies in the central grass. A flurry of wind made the palms talk, and the noise seemed to very loud, now that darkness and silence made it so noticeable. Two great trunks rubbed each other with an evil speaking that no one had noticed by day. Piggy took the conch out of his hands. His voice was indignant.
I don't believe in no ghosts, ever!
Jack was up too, unaccountably angry.
Who cares what you believe, fatty?
I got the conch!
There was the sound of a brief tussle, and the conch moved to and fro.
You, give me the conch back!
Ralph pushed between them and got a thump on the chest. He wrestled the conch from someone and sat down breathlessly.
There's too much talk about ghosts. You ought to have left all this before daylight.
Perhaps that's what the beast is. A ghost.
The assembly was shaken as by wind.
There's too much talking out of turn because we can't have proper assemblies. If you don't stick to the rules.
He stopped again. The careful plan of this assembly had broken down.
What do you want me to say then? I was wrong to call this assembly so late? We'll have a vote on them, on ghosts I mean, and then go to the shelters because we're all tired? No. Jack, is it? Wait a minute. I'll say here and here now that I don't believe in ghosts, or I don't think I do, but I don't like the thought of them. Now that it is dark, now it is in the dark, but we were going to decide what's what. Very well then, I suppose what's what is whether there are ghosts or not.
He thought for a moment, formulating the question.
Who thinks there may be ghosts?
For a long time there was silence and no apparent movement. Then Ralph peered into the gloom and made out his hands. He spoke flatly.
I see.
The world, that understandable and lawful world, was slipping away. Once there was this and that, and now? And the ship had gone. The conch was snatched from its hands, and Piggy's voice shrilled.
I didn't vote for no ghosts! Remember that, all of you! What are we, humans or animals? Or savages? What's grown-ups going to think? Going off, hunting pigs, letting fires out, and now?
Shut up, you fat slug.
There was a moment's struggle, and the glimmering conch jiggled up and down. Ralph leapt to his feet.
Jack, you haven't got the conch, let him speak.
Jack's face swam near him.
And you shut up. Who are you sitting there telling people what to do? You can't hunt, can't sing.
I'm chief. I was chosen.
Well, I should choose and make any difference. Just giving orders, that don't make any sense.
Piggy's got the conch.
That's right. Favor Piggy, as you always do.
Jack.
Jack's voice sounded in bitter mimicry.
Oh, Jack.
The rules, you're breaking the rules.
Who cares?
Ralph summoned his wits.
Because the rules are the only thing we got.
Bollocks to the rules. We're strong. We hunt. If there's a beast, we'll hunt it down. We'll close in and beat and beat and beat.
He gave a wild whoop and leapt down to the pale sand. At once the platform was full of noise and excitement, scrambling, screams, and laughter. The assembly shredded away, and because of dispersive and random scatters, on night sight. Ralph found his cheek touching the cards and took it completely.
What's grown-ups going to say? Look at him.
The sound of mock hunting, hysterical laughter, and real terror came from the beach.
Blow the conch, Ralph.
Piggy was so close that Ralph could see the glint of his one eye.
There's a fire. Can it see?
You got to be tough now. Make him do what you want.
Ralph answered in the cautious voice of one who rehearses a theorem.
If I blow the conch and they don't come back, then we've had it. We shan't keep the fire going. We'll be like animals. We'll never be rescued.
If you don't blow, we'll soon be animals anyway. I can't see what they're doing, but I can hear.
The dispersed figures had come together on the sand and were a dense black mass that revolved. They were chanting something, and little ones that had had enough were staggering away, howling. Ralph raised the conch to his lips and then lowered it.
The trouble is, are there ghosts, Piggy? Or beasts?
Of course there aren't.
Why not?
Because things wouldn't make sense. Houses and streets and TVs, they wouldn't work.
The dancing, chanting boys have worked themselves away till their sound is nothing but a work this way.
But suppose they don't make sense. Not here on this island. Supposing things are watching us and waiting.
Ralph strutted violently and moved closer to Piggy, so that they bumped frightened.
You stop talking like that. We got enough trouble, Ralph. And I had as much as I can stand. If there is ghosts...
I'll have to give up being chief. Here.
Oh, Lord. Oh, no. If Jack was chief, he'd have all hunting and no fire. We'd be here till we died. Who's that sitting there?
That lot of good we are. 3 blind mice. I'll give up.
If you give up, what'd happen to me?
Nothing.
He hates me. I don't know why. If he could do what he wanted, you're all right. He respects you. Besides, you'd hit him.
You were having a nice fight with him just now.
I had the conch. I had the right to speak.
Go on, Beach.
Shut up, young Simon. When did you say there wasn't a beast?
I'm scared of him. That's why I know him. If you're scared of someone, you hate him. But you can't stop thinking of him. You kid yourself. He's all right, really. And then when you see him again, it's like asthma and you can't breathe. I'll tell you what, he hates you too, Ralph. I don't know. You got him over the fire and you're chief and he ain't.
But he's Jack Garrett.
I've been in bed so much, I've done some thinking. I know about people, I know about me. And him, he can't hurt you. But if you stand out of the way, he'd hurt the next thing, and that's me.
Piggy's right. Ralph, there's you and Jack. Go on, you two.
We're all drifting. These things are going rocky. At home there was always a grown-up. Please, sir, please. This. And then you got an answer. How I wish.
I wish my auntie was here.
Oh, what use?
Keep the fire going.
The dance was over and the hunters were going back to the shelters.
Grown-ups know things. They aren't afraid of the dark. They meet and have things discuss. Then things ought to be right.
They wouldn't set fire to the island or lose.
It blew the ship. The 3 boys stood in the darkness, striving unsuccessfully to lay the bodies to the fire.
They wouldn't quarrel.
Or break my specs.
Or talk about peace.
If only they could get a message to us. If only they could send us something grown-up. Or a sign.
A thin wail out of the darkness chilled them and set them grabbing for each other. The thin wail rose from urgent and turned to an inarticulate giver. Percival Wemmy Madison of the Vicarage, Harcourt, St. Anthony, lying in the long grass, was living through circumstances in which the incantation of his address was powerless to help him.
Which means Percival was crying again. Alright. So, doing this as a reader